Hello guys, welcome to Criminal Minds Unleashed. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, share, like, and let's engage in the comment section. Let's get to it.
Suspecting man is about to show just how much of a monster he really is. On September 12, 2021, this man, 38-year-old Antoine Suggs, assassinated 4 innocent people in the middle of the night. Our small team of investigative reporters has gathered the footage and case details about Antoine and how all 4...
Wait, I just don't understand why and how a human being with 5 senses will go ahead and assassinate 4 human beings. Like, what made him, or what really transpired for him to take such action? Some people are just considered evil and very crazy.
4 murders came to be in order to present the whole story in its entirety for the first time ever. This all started very early in the morning a few days prior on September 8th. Antoine arrived in Minnesota via airplane from his home state of Arizona, and footage shows that nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. But that changes very soon. Antoine is picked up by an unknown person and leaves the airport with them. A few days later, on September 11th, late at night, Antoine revisits the airport in a new luxury Mercedes SUV. Later investigations report that this car was recently loaned to Antoine. It is unknown whether or not Antoine is connected to a larger organized crime group. While it's a logical hypothesis considering the value of this luxury car Antoine is now driving, we have yet to unfold the full story of this case, as it is only just heating up. We don't know why Antoine revisited the airport, but
at this moment, I wouldn't say, despite him using luxurious or expensive cars, that means that he may be belonging to a certain gang or maybe affiliating with any gang members. But as he may be someone who just like flashy cars, and since he came from Arizona, I assume this is somebody who would save some money maybe to come enjoy his vacation in Minnesota. So let's see what transpires.
the surveillance footage gives us a glimpse at his passenger, who bears a striking resemblance to one of his future murder victims, Natosha Lee Flug-Presley. If the passenger is indeed Natosha, then this was one of the last images showing her alive. According to a complaint filed by an anonymous person, a witness said they saw Antoine and Natosha taking shots together at a bar just hours after he left the airport. Records also show that Natosha's aunt told investigators that Antoine and Natosha were romantically involved. Putting all this information together, it's becoming more and more likely that this passenger is indeed Natosha. After a night of drinking, it is believed that Antoine and Natosha went to a residence in St. Paul, where they spent time with 3 other people who would soon become Antoine's other 3 future murder victims. They were Lois Foreman III, Matthew Pettis, and Jasmine Sturm. Just hours later that same night, now the very early morning of September 12th, surveillance footage caught this altercation sometime around 3:30 a.m. in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Wow, those were just gunshots. 3 in the morning. But at the same time, I'm not sure like how. I would want to see more of the video capturing the same car that Antoine was driving, because at this moment these are just videos from the doorbell cameras. So I just wish it captured the sounds of yes, those gunshots which were fired, but we really don't know who was in the car. So
In this footage, we hear gunshots and then that same Mercedes car speed through the streets. It is clear this is when the murders happened, but what Antoine does after this is quite shocking. On the same day around 10 a.m., after driving around for many hours trying to figure out what to do with the dead bodies, Antoine decided that he needed help hiding the bodies. So he makes plans to meet up with his father, 56-year-old Darren Osborne.
So Antoine he already shot his 4 victims, and at this moment he's been driving with them all that time. You want to tell me, like, the way I know Minnesota, like, no state trooper, no police did ever pull them over? It doesn't make sense.
At a gas station during the day. Antoine's plan was to have his father follow him into western Wisconsin to a cornfield where they would find an inconspicuous place to dump the car with the bodies in it. Osborne later told officers that he had no idea at this point there were bodies in Antoine's car. On the way to meet with his father, Antoine stops at a different gas station than the one planned for the meetup spot. In this disturbing surveillance footage that shows this particular stop, you can even see one of the deceased victims in the passenger seat, limp and showing no signs of life. And while those bodies are in the car, Antoine is inside the gas station, paying for his gas just like it's another normal day. Antoine continued traveling.
I mean, something I still don't understand is, how was Antoine driving from just driving from St. Paul, and at this moment he was heading to Wisconsin, stopping at the gas station. You want to tell me, like, no police? He never came across any police, but at the same time, maybe he did come he did come by some police, but they didn't have a probable cause to pull him over, so maybe that's why.
To the meetup spot, moving from St. Paul, Minnesota to Dunn County, Wisconsin. This time, stopping at the originally planned gas station. We see him and his father convene at the gas station and they speak a bit before driving away. It is presumed Antoine had now moved the body out of the front passenger seat, considering his father would have clearly noticed a deceased human being sitting in the car. That is, if Antoine's father is telling the truth. Again, at this point, according to the father, he did not know what Antoine was up to. However, it is reported that Antoine allegedly confessed to his father, soon after the meetup, that he had snapped and shot the victims. At this point, it's becoming more and more difficult for Antoine's father to deny his involvement with this situation.
So something I don't understand is, why didn't Antoine's father report this to the police? I mean, I do understand the fact that as a parent, your child will always come first, but I don't think this is the kind of lifestyle I want to teach my children, that you can commit a crime and call me and I'll help you out. At this moment, I think Antoine's dad just put himself in trouble for wanting to assist his son in dumping those bodies. So
Antoine and his father allegedly went on to hide the car with the bodies in it in a cornfield further into Wisconsin. It is reported that a local anonymous farmer found the abandoned Mercedes in a cornfield in Dunn County, Wisconsin. He very quickly reported it to the police. At this time, no one knew of Antoine's or his father's involvement. However, we do have body cam footage that details some of the officers' experiences investigating the car in the cornfield with the deceased victims in it. What they find is extremely brutal.
That's where we're gonna go in right here. Yeah, we can do something just for We did open the back door. If you need to open the back door.
Do we know if that one in the back on the far right is male or female?
Do you know? The one on the far back? The behind the driver?
I thought it was a female.
So they were stiff when you moved them?
Yes.
Somebody said?
I opened that door. I basically went like this, and it was just, you know, hard, stiff, rigor, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, the male, we didn't check anything on him. I thought there was like a hole. Looks like there might be blood pooling in his ear, or I thought maybe that was an entry or exit wound. I'm not sure.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
I ran out. Well, it looks like if an actual key started not push button too. There's no keys in the ignition.
Oh, there's blood on their shoe. See that?
Yeah, it's pooled, yeah. Definite bullet wound to the right side of the face, right side of the ear on him, on the male.
That's what I thought.
These officers are taking careful note of entry and exit wound details for a very important reason. This detail alone is extremely helpful in determining if the murders were committed with intent or in self-defense.
I mean, that looks like an entrance wound right there.
It didn't look like an exit wound to me. I'm guessing she got shot in the body though. Yeah, there's blood on her left arm and on her right, and it's old. Watch your right shoulder, man.
Yeah.
I mean, something that's very confusing is how are they able to drive through the cornfield without anyone coming across them or seeing them? Because I've drove to Wisconsin, and in every minute that you pull over to the side, there's always cars that will always drive by, and if they suspect anything, they always call the police. So it's either they did this at night or maybe like when it's a bit getting dark, because it really doesn't make sense.
Oh, what's in the pocket, Dan?
There? Dried blood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's dripping right now.
Oh, yeah.
Male. And shot wound to the head. Like, yep. There's the exit wound over here. See on the front seat,
Yeah.
right below, right where the shoulder rest is, that white stuff, is that brain matter or skull particulates?
Hard to say.
Because she wearing her seatbelt still?
No,
I couldn't tell if it was
I
just
think they put it
behind her.
her.
Behind her?
Just probably so that it wouldn't beep. Because the weight's in there, so it'd beep.
I want to know where the gunshot wound is on this other gal. How do you have exit wounds and there's no damage in the vehicle?
Well, but also if it's a headshot, wouldn't she have splatter? I mean, you got splatter on him, but it's just weird.
Well, his is coming from.
I just like how these police are reasoning, like, and this is how work should be done. Like, they're not leaving no room for anything. Like, they're just tackling everything as it is, and it's very impressive.
From his nose. You know, that's just draining from the nose from the brain.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, well. Did we look through that? Well, let's just get out of here, I guess. We'll go talk to Kyle.
During later investigations, Antoine's Arizona ID card was found on the floor of the car, covered in blood. This pointed the officers directly.
So something else I usually mention every time I'm doing this kind of videos, like, how does somebody go committing a crime and then boom, end up leaving something that is going to incriminate you? Like how? What were the odds of Antoine not making sure he didn't leave any evidence behind? So at least right now police have somewhere to start with.
To him and later his father as well, as more information was discovered after they reviewed the previously shown surveillance footage. Officers arrested Antoine's father first, and then charged Antoine with 4 counts of hiding a corpse. Antoine, now back in Arizona, turned himself in to the Arizona authorities. Antoine would now be brought back to St. Paul, Minnesota, the city where he committed the murders. This is where his dramatic legal trial would take place. Over the course of the next few days of Antoine's trial, he claimed, incredulously, that he acted in self-defense in the killing and transporting of the 4 victims, which the prosecutors stated that they find improbable.
No, I wouldn't totally disagree with Antoine about self-defense, because as the police said, it can't be self-defense if there's no gunshots on the car, cause if the gunshots were there, then that would be something else. But all those 4 victims were either shot somewhere and then dragged into the car, and then he drove all the way to Wisconsin to go dispose the bodies, or he shot them at a close range while they were inside the car. So
Antoine has had a lengthy history of breaking the law, including multiple instances of unlawful possession of a firearm, possession of marijuana in a vehicle, driving with a suspended license, and much more. Even though Antoine had never racked up any charges nearly as serious as murder, this made it quite clear that Antoine is no stranger to criminal activity. During the trial, Antoine never gave any reason other than self-defense. He said the 4 victims were attempting to rob him, claiming he was the victim in this situation. However, going back to what the police learned about the entry and exit wounds of the bullets in the bodies, it's obvious this is definitely not a case of self-defense. Even though no one believed Antoine's excuse, he still gave no other reason as to why he did this. So we may never know his true motive behind murdering the 4 innocent victims. The jurors, after 6 hours of deliberation, decided that Antoine was found guilty on all 4 counts of second-degree intentional murder and was sentenced to 103 years in prison.
wow. So I mean, I'm not shocked, because some actions, every action has consequences, and as I've said before, these are the consequences of someone deciding to be an evil and kill 4 individuals. So, and then one thing I was so disappointed with the dad is, how I know you love your kids, but how will you go ahead and try and save your son that has killed 4 individuals? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
His father, Darren Osborne, was charged with 1 count of aiding an offender. After pleading guilty, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. These are the jury verdicts that show Antoine being found guilty on all 4 counts of murder. Judge Japal Harris, the judge who sentenced Antoine, told him this: "Each one of these individuals deserves that you serve time for each one of them." What do you believe could have possibly been Antoine's motive for killing these 4 innocent people?
I mean, I do agree with the judge. If you can go ahead and commit such a crime, you deserve a hefty charge. So, I mean, for Antoine, that's more like a lifetime. I don't think he's gonna see the light, but whatever he did, it's just gruesome, and I just feel sorry for the parents of those victims.
Let us know what you think.
So guys, that's the end of this reaction video. If you enjoyed it, and if you have any question, go drop it on the comment section, and I'll be happy to engage with you. And for those who will want to watch the full video without an interruption, just I'll be posting the link below for you guys. Anyway, till next time, see you guys.